Okay, welcome back. Part 3 of our tutorial on editing. We have gone through the layout. We have gone through the I and the O for in and out. Now we're going to actually do some editing. Okay, so again, we're here in our timeline. This is our program. Our program, if you remember, represents what's in our visual representation of what's in our timeline, and the source window is our visual representation of what's in our project bin, okay, or on our media source. So a couple of things that you need to be aware of. Let's say you want to jump to the beginning or jump to the end of a clip on your timeline, okay? Only works on your timeline. The best way to do that is if you go to your keyboard and you use the arrow buttons. Up and down makes you jump. Okay, up is back, down is forward. Up and down. And they jump along the cut lines. If you want to move one frame at a time instead of using your timeline cursor to try to do that, you can do it with the side arrows here on your keyboard. Left is backwards, and right is forward, one frame at a time. So again, one frame at a time, move it forward or backwards with your keyboard arrow combination, and to jump along the timeline on what's called the cut line, up and down, okay? So let's go ahead and edit what we call a sequence. First shot is this shot right here. Let's go to the next shot. We want a tighter shot. So we're going to double click in here and open up our project right here, or our clip here. We want a tighter shot. We're going to do the I, and we're going to go about 4 seconds or 3 seconds, and an O, okay? 2 minutes or 2 seconds and 14 seconds. We're going to go a little bit longer than that. There we go, 3 seconds. 3 seconds right there. We're going to hit period, okay? Now, if you noticed, I had my blue cursor right here, okay? And what that did is that when I hit period, it put it wherever my blue cursor was, okay? I'm going to show you the greatest trick in the world, all right? If you make a mistake, if you hit Command Z, that's the undo, Command Z. Okay, and the reason that I made the mistake is this cursor was in the middle of my clip. I don't want to do that. So I go to the beginning or the end of the clip, and now I put my cursor right exactly where I want it, and I hit period again, and it just built the timeline, okay? We're going to go to the next one. We're going to create another video clip. We'll just take that. I can drag it up here. And we'll move this one. We'll do an I and an O, and we'll do a period, and then we'll go back to this one, and we'll do an I and an O and a period. And now what we have is we have a sequence. Sequences are usually wide, medium, tight shots. Wide, medium, tight. Any combination of that, okay? So there's a wide shot, there's a medium shot, and there's a tight shot. There's a super tight shot, okay? Any combination of what you're looking for can create a sequence, okay? And by that, I mean that you can change them up. You can go wide, tight, super tight, medium. You can go wide, medium, tight. Tight, wide, medium. Anything along those lines will help you out, okay? Let's say you want to adjust these, okay? A couple of ways you can do it. You can Command Z and back your way out to where you want to change them up. Or, this is a little bit more complicated, but it does the effect, is you can click. Remember how we deleted? You click and highlighted, all right? Let's say we want to move this to the end. We just click, hold, and drag. and now we moved it to the end. Now when we do that, we create a big hole right here. All right? You don't want to start the video with this great big hole of black. So now, when you start doing it this way, you have to loop everything together and bring it back. So now you start with this shot. It goes to that shot, goes to that shot, and that shot. And you see how there's different sequence? The different sequence is basically in the framing of the shot. Okay? So, once you do that, once you hit play, you should be able to watch what you're doing. You created your sequence. Hopefully you're saying the words, you know, the corner of Belle Reve and South Side, and you see that at the same time you're saying it. All right? So, the reality is you just created what's called a VO. Okay? We're going to do this. Now, what do? Well, because the program is a reference program, it's only referencing the video. You haven't created it, you can't turn it in from this program. You have to now transfer and export it out of this program into a format that you can turn it in for grade, okay? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your blue bar right here is across circling what you want to export, okay? We go up to File, Export Media. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go, as soon as it clicks up here, our format, which standardized our format here at UNF. We don't use QuickTime. We don't use any of these. We use H.264. H.264. Remember I talked about timeline parameters? Well, H.264 is the same as, should be the same as your timeline parameters. And if it's not, it will change it to 1920 by 1080. Okay? Gets into a little bit more technical, but that's why we use H.264. Everybody turns in H.264 from this class to the next class to the next class to the next class until you're done. Okay? That's the way it is. And why is that? Because we know our equipment will be recording H.264, 1080, 1920, 1080. We also know that the equipment in the TV studio that you'll get into eventually uses this format. It has trouble with other formats. So we want you to start using H.264. Okay, there are three things that you need to pay attention to on this one. H.264, right here where it says output name. If you double click on that or just click on it, it brings up your output name, okay? So you'll want Ken Test, name it, all right? And right here it says where. Where are you naming it? Where are you saving it to? If you click here, it opens up. You want to save it to, I want to save mine to teach, okay? And I hit save. If you don't do this part, okay, you're not going to find it because it's going to put it on the computer and you're not going to be able to find it. Okay, so this is very, very important. You got to tell the computer where you want it to go. Okay, you have to name it so you can find it, so you can turn it in. Okay, so here's three things that on this thing. There's the first one, H.264. The second one is output name. That's the blue. Change it. Tell it where to save it to. And finally, entire clip. This little clip right down here, this little area right down here, you'll want to do entire clip. Not clip in and out and not custom. Okay? Entire clip. And then you just, once you get those three, so there's 1, format, 2, output name, 3, entire clip, you hit export. Then the computer starts encoding it, changing it, and making it an H.264, an MP4, so you can turn it in, okay? Let me explain why you want to do the entire clip. Real world example. when nonlinear editing, which is what this is computerized editing, first came out, and I was working in TV news, we were learning how to do it, and we would go to put our shows on at 6 o'clock, and our stories would go in air, and they'd go to your living room, and the video would only play for 10 seconds. Even though the story was 2.5 minutes long, you only got to see 10 seconds of it because we made an exporting error. It took us a couple of weeks to figure out that when we were exporting, we were only exporting the in and out, okay? We were only exporting the in and out, not the entire sequence. So that's why exporting the entire sequence is important. Finally, you can minimize this. Go to your hard drive, your flash drive, wherever it is, and here, right here, is your video. And you can play it, and it goes along like that, okay? So, in the next tutorial, we'll go over some finer points of the layout and actually put together something that will resemble one of your class assignments.